Members' order. It's time for questions to the Minister for Regional Development. And for the first time, we will have topical questions to the Minister. These will last for up to 15 minutes. And we will then move to deal with questions that appear on the oral question list. I will call members who were successful in the topical question ballot in order in which they have been listed. Only the member listed will be allowed a supplementary to his or her question. Other members should not stand, as they will not be called. I remind members that the normal rules and conventions apply to topical questions, and I would ask them to study the ruling that I issued last week. However, I would like to be able to chair the first few sessions with a light hand as possible, and I think it's important I say that until we get a feel for the new arrangements in the House. So I would ask members very much for their cooperation. I would hope that members will make good use of topical questions and that they will bring some life to question time here in the House. And also, let me say to the whole House, it is another way of holding ministers to account within their own departments. And before we move on, perhaps I should also wish the Minister of Regional Development well, as he is the first Minister up for topical questions. But I have to say, I am sorry to say that the members whose name came out first on the list has withdrawn it. And I would hope that this will not set a pattern. I would ask whips to ensure that this does not happen in the future. And let me say to the House, this is an issue for whips. Members are going to put in either questions, either in oral form or topical questions, and then decide to withdraw their name. Does not go all well for the future. So I would just remind whips of their responsibility. So the first name that has been withdrawn, sad to say, is Chris Hazzard. And we move on now, and I call William Irwin. Mr. Irwin.
Yeah. The continued uncertainty on the A5 road project has created great concern, particularly amongst farmers who stand to be negatively affected by the work carried out. While Darden Road Service have recently asked farmers to update their agricultural impact assessments, many of those affected believe that the process does not afford them the open and transparent basis on which to thoroughly illustrate the overall impact of the proposed project on their business. And many farmers believe that their views are simply being ignored within the quarters of DRD. Can the Minister indicate whether he will undertake a comprehensive review of the process used for conducting the A5 agricultural impact assessments to alleviate those concerns and give a voice to farmers affected by the project?
The Minister maybe rises to answer the question. Topical questions or oral questions should not be statements. Should not be statements. I do say that. I do say order. I do say that very firmly. And also, it should be one inquiry to the Minister. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I really do feel the hand of history today as being the first recipient of topical questions, and what will be more interesting will be if there's any topical answers given. But I suppose I was rather puzzled that Mr. Hazzard had withdrawn his. Hopefully, the question was withdrawn because of the member's unavailability rather than his ability to come up with a topical question. But apart from that, we'll attempt to progress that. I know that the A5 issue is among the standard questions, the listed questions for later in the question time. But I am happy to take and address the concerns raised by Mr. Irwin. This is a red letter day for Newry and Armagh constituency to have me answer the first priority question posed by a member from my own constituency. The member will know, of course, that the A5 scheme is not abandoned. It is a delayed scheme. That we continue to work through, and important work has begun on the appropriate assessment process. That work will be subject of public consultation and perhaps at a later stage public inquiry. I am aware of concerns, and indeed I have had some contact from the Ulster Farmers Union and correspondence from a number, I have to say, of affected landowners. I am looking closely at that and have agreed with my officials to instigate a review of the current procedures. We will attempt to do that, and we will do that as quickly as possible and seek to make progress on it.
Sure.
What certainty can the Minister give farmers that their views will be taken on board if the project goes ahead?
Well, the uncertainty around the project has been that of the legal challenges in and around it. I remind the member that the scheme itself remains an executive priority scheme, clearly supported by his own party at this stage, unless it's on another U-turn. But the important thing would be that we will take on board meaningful points of concern that individual farmers may have, and landowners indeed, and that's where in the business of. I regard myself as a listening minister and will seek to proceed on that basis.
Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister, can you confirm that the Knockmore-Antrim train link is actually physically closed, and can you also confirm that health and safety checks are carried out on a regular basis, as was promised when that was originally taken off the network?
I'm grateful to the member for his topical question, and he will indeed know, and perhaps be in some part referring to the recent rail inquiry that was necessary as a result of an incident